How's it going, everybody? Adrian Simple here from the Gaming Observer, and this is your daily news update for Wednesday, June 10th. I hope you are well, my friends. I'm super excited to be here, and there was very little news today. However, we got a whole bunch of stuff from Bungie and Destiny 2, so that's what today's episode is going to be dedicated to. If you are not a Destiny player, don't worry, I'm not either. I just want to explore the decisions that they made and kind of their position within the industry right now. Before we jump in, though, I just want to remind you of the itch.io bundle for racial justice and equality. They just added about 300 more games to the bundle, including the hit platformer Celeste, which is worth way more and above the $5 asking price of the 1,000 game bundle. So that's itch.io. You'll see it on their homepage. Anyway, let's get into today's topic. Indeed, Bungie has given a framework for the future of Destiny 2. And the key piece of marketing here is that it does not involve a Destiny 3, at least not until September 2022. They said that too much was lost by making a sequel to the original Destiny, and they don't want that to happen again. However, that being said, infinitely building on Destiny 2 as a living, breathing game is also not possible. This is what they've said, quote, Destiny 2 is too large to efficiently update and maintain. The size and complexity of the game are also contributing to more bugs and less innovation, end quote. And so now what this means is that they are going to be removing content from the game as time goes on, and put it into what they call the Destiny Content Vault. So essentially, the least played portions of the game are going to go into the vault, with potentials for it to return in the future. With that said, they've announced their next 3 major expansions. The first is called Beyond Light, that comes this September. After that is The Witch Queen in 2021, and then Lightfall in 2022. So like I said, today is dedicated to Destiny, so let's explore this one for a second. I think that a move like this is pretty unsurprising, right? Bungie in the past has been pretty clear in its marketing that they're sticking around with Destiny for a while, and I mean certainly they're an independent developer now, they're going to need that reliability. However, this decision to vault some of their content that has been around for the past few years has already ruffled some feathers. Because it's not a small amount. They're tossing away at least 5 destinations from the game, which presumably is going to be offset by new content, but nonetheless, for the daily Destiny players or the, hardcore Destiny players, it's probably going to come as a shock. I think it's an interesting strategy, though, because there's a lot that you need to consider with a game like this. I think that the longer that it exists, the more unapproachable it is to new players. Look at the MMO genre, for example. That's a huge problem there. So the new player experience, it's certainly important, and if you're able to introduce new stuff constantly, get rid of the old, then people know that they can kind of just jump in at any time. You've established that. They also indicated that the technical side of things, the back end, needs to rely on less content, which is another thing to keep in mind. The most interesting thing for me, though, is how this applies to the Destiny player that plays every day, or the hardcore Destiny player that I mentioned earlier. I think that as gamers, we tend to be very instinctually protective of the things we like, and if it goes away, it means we're losing some of our fun. It's why things like emulators exist. And I think that in theory, something that we need to work on is moving away from that instinct, at least with games that still exist. I think that a developer who has a tight focus and a clear understanding of what they want in their game, I think that's a good sign. It means that they care, it means that they're staying creative, there's new things for you. That's the theory. In practice, though, it can get a little bit more muddled, right? And Bungie is the living example of that. They haven't necessarily had the best reputation when it comes to their creative decisions. Which isn't to say people hate them or anything. Obviously, the game's done well and it's praised for a number of reasons, but I think that there is a reason to be skeptical of things like the Destiny Content Vault. If something like this is mishandled, it could turn off a lot of people from the game. At the same time, though, if they do it right, I think it could be one of the best things for them. Games like Fortnite thrive on cycling content and keeping things fresh, so why not Destiny? Especially when it's so lore-heavy like MMOs. People love the story of Destiny, so to see that evolve over time, I think it's genius. Anyway, folks, if you are a Destiny player yourself, maybe you want to weigh in on this one. What are your thoughts? I certainly don't have the most extensive knowledge of the game, but obviously I've been around the block, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the company can do. I've heard that they have another game in the works as well, so That always gets people excited. Either way, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to catch you in the TGO After-Show, and then I'm going to be back with the news tomorrow. So, until next time, my friends, happy gaming, everyone. Hey, it's the After Show. Hello and welcome. Originally, I was planning on saying a lot of that stuff in this After Show, and then I was going through my news and I was like, you know what, none of this is all that interesting. So, I just shifted around a bit. And certainly, I'm not going to be for a lack of news, considering all of the major shows that are happening this week, and next week, and probably the week after. I'm going to be a busy boy watching all of that footage, but at least I'm gonna try and watch all of it. It's a lot to keep tabs on. I prefer, whenever possible, to see the primary source instead of relying on the articles that are made about those things, especially when it comes to events, because, you know, I feel like a lot of stuff can get hyped up and sensationalized, but also, like, you know, I like to give a recap of the event itself, and not just the things that are announced within it, because I feel like there's a lot of people who don't get the chance to watch that stuff. It can be really long, or they're just not interested in sitting for an hour to look at a whole bunch of announcements one after another. I totally get it. But sometimes there's an event that blows everyone away, and so you want to go out of your way for that one. Or there's a certain game that happens in a certain conference, and so you're going to watch the whole thing, or whatever it is. So I like to be there to just say, hey, if you didn't get the chance to watch this event, let me at least tell you what happened, so that you don't feel like you're missing out on the conversation. And I have a lot of fun doing that as well. It's one of my favorite things to do. So anyway, we've got a whole bunch of that coming up. In the meantime, I am just maintaining my usual gaming, as it stands. I'm about 10 hours into Final Fantasy IX, which, according to how long to beat, I'm only about a quarter of the way there. Which is totally fine. I'm having a fantastic time with that game. I've been playing Legends of Runeterra every single day, just to get the daily quests. And that one's an interesting one. You know, I'm a big card game fan, and I really love the things that they have going on there. But I've only ever played the same deck ever since the very beginning. And that's just because I wanted to, you know, grind it out and build up a card base, essentially. I could build other decks, but I've been going up the ranks in the ranked mode because I've just been dominating that scene with my spider deck. And nobody else is using the spider deck, so I feel very competent. Anyway, I'm trying to play Half-Life Alyx when I can, when I feel like bringing my PC over into my living room. I've talked about that already. I haven't yet given up on Rogue Legacy and the final achievement that I'm trying to get there, which is basically to beat the game in 15 lives. Man, oh man, is it ever hard. I almost gave up like a while ago, and then I googled the strategy, and I was like, oh, there's a new strategy, I can try that one out. So I'm going to try that and see how it goes. But I'm like on the breaking point. And then besides that single achievement from Rogue Legacy, I'm also trying to get all of the challenges in Hitman 2. That's still going on. It's going to take me a long time. This is a long-term project with Hitman 2, I think. There's just so much to do in that game, and it's very entertaining. And if I were to just follow a guide all the time, it might go a little faster. But then it wouldn't be any fun. I only use the guide if I literally have no idea what to do, or if it is such an impossible mission that it would take me, you know, dozens and dozens of hours to figure out how to do it. Instead, I do all of the hardest stuff with a guide, and then I try to, like, figure out the achievement on my own. So in that sense, it's going to be a long-term project. Because, man, the levels in that game are humongous. The maps. Anyway, so that's my status. My friends, I hope you're doing well, truly. These past couple of weeks have been pretty tough on me, and I hope the same has not been true for you, because happiness is king in this world, is it not? Folks, that's going to do it for today. Thank you for joining me, and I'll be back tomorrow with the news. So until then, farewell.